Today's patio chat is being brought to you locally by Westridge Furniture in Delphus. See it all at your finer outdoor furniture store.
Well, the Bible is the #1 best-selling book, and with us today, Father David Ross in to talk about this book he's been reading, The Bible, A Global History by Bruce Gordon. So thanks for joining us, Father.
Thank you. Bruce is a professor of ecclesiastical history at Yale Divinity School.
Okay.
And usually professors, throughout the course of their tenure, follow the dictum, publish or perish. So you have to publish or they're going to fire you.
Exactly.
To keep your tenure. And so he's done this exhaustive study. I didn't say exhausting, but an exhaustive study of the scriptures of the Bible, the Hebrew Bible and the New Testament and the Christian Bible, Christian scriptures, from its inception all the way down to the present. But it's interesting in the manner in which he does this. He is so thorough. I mean, even I was a bit baffled by things I thought. I never knew this stuff when I was in school, taking scripture studies. But what I enjoyed about it is that he gives the human side of how it was created. He's not one who's going to pull punches, and he's favorable not just to one particular thing, not just, for example, to Protestantism or Catholicism, but he's very... what's the word I want to use? He's very fair in the manner in which he approaches it. Do you know where most of the Bibles now are printed in the world?
I only know because you just told me. But
I just told you.
I know, yeah.
Most of the Bibles now are printed in China. 12 million Bibles a year are printed in China. But what's so ironic is they don't let the Chinese people have the Bibles.
They can't have them. Wow.
No, but they're printed in so many languages. I think of all the languages in the world, 50% of all the world languages have some elements of the Bible in it.
So does he say they lose a lot in translation, or he doesn't address that, or what does he address some of it?
For example, St. Jerome, took the scriptures. He took the Hebrew and the Greek scriptures. He was the first one to take the Hebrew and the Greek in the 4th century and put it into the Latin, which was the prevailing language at the time.
Okay.
And then eventually, everybody wanted to read the Latin, but of course people were ignorant, so it had to be interpreted to them. And usually it was only in monasteries that people had what we call a codex, or a big volume of the books. Of the scriptures. And so, for example, the largest volume of the Bible was 170 pounds, mind you. Whoa. And they used them on these great big stands that the monks would stand around, and they would chant the Psalms from there or read from there in their monasteries. But what happened was it was Wycliffe and Tyndale who wanted to print the Bible in English. And of course, Henry VIII didn't like that idea, because it should have been continued to be read in Latin. But people, as I say, stopped using Latin as the lingua franca, or the language of the people, after a while. And so eventually these Bibles came out. Gutenberg, of course, as we all know, began to print them popularly, and people began to have them. So what's happened now is that they've been able to take the scriptures, the Bibles, not only, instead of referring to it as the Old Testament, I prefer to refer to it as the Hebrew scriptures in deference to our Jewish brothers and sisters, but they were able to take the Hebrew scriptures and the Christian scriptures and circulate them through quite a number of places, not just, for example, in Northern Europe, but now in Africa and in South America, and even in China now. Even in places in China, you'll find the Bible over there too. So what I find it fascinating is it's a good, thorough history, but you got to take the time. I have to confess, as I was finishing it last night, I was like this,
Well, it's a thick book. I mean, you brought it, yeah.
It is a thick book.
There's a lot to ingest.
There's a lot. So if you got the time and you get the interest in looking at it from a historical perspective, I would recommend this book by Bruce Gordon. It's really good.
So he's kind of looking at the history as it going through the language, and not necessarily the history that's in the Bible.
That's exactly right. So in the translations, people...
Because now we have the message, and I mean, everything that's sounds like what we're talking about.
We'd like to think so. But in the translation is where we find the difficulties. In the translation, we'll find the dilemmas, for example, between the King James Bible, for example, and let's say the Revised Standard Version Bible, or the Douay-Rheims Bible. We'll find differences in language, which can change the meaning of particular pieces of Scripture, for example.
Yeah, but also it's meant to help you understand it better.
It's meant to, but it doesn't always. I find, as I read it, for example, I was taught in school to read it in Greek and Latin.
Oh, well, yeah.
I'm not too good on the Hebrew.
So should we have King James and then compare it to like whatever your modern day version?
Well, there's all
or-
kinds of versions. There's all kinds of versions. So anyway, it's a good historical analysis
Okay,
of the Bible.
very good. Well, thank you very much, Father,
Thank you.
for coming.
Thanks, Holly.
All right, don't go away. Noon Edition wraps up after this.